Hey everyone, Larry Chen here. We are featuring a beautiful Porsche today. My buddy Ravi from CSF Radiators built this showstopper for the SEMA show. What's up?
Good to see you, Larry. Thanks for having me on your channel. And yeah, you're looking at the CSF 911. A lot of people think we're a radiator company, but we obviously do other types of coolers like intercoolers, oil coolers, this being an air-cooled car. Just wanted to build like a dream car of mine, but also showcase all the oil cooler technology that we started to make.
So I've had a chance to see this at SEMA and we chit-chatted a little bit about this. Just to lay it out there right now, this is your dream vehicle and this is essentially no expense spared to build this ultimate air-cooled 911.
Yeah, I didn't cut any corners on this. And, sometimes when you build a SEMA car, you have to like rush through a couple things or, you end up presenting a car that not necessarily is everything you wanted. Working with SEMA, the owner of SV Auto and his team here, and being able to finish this car exactly to the standard that I set out to do, it's been a dream come true. And it's everything I ever wanted. I mean, the car is absolutely flawless. It's amazing.
So we're gonna check out the rest of the garage, but let's lay it out there. Quick facts right away. What did this start life as? Horsepower numbers, all of that.
Yeah, so this car started as an 81 SC. It's been completely restored, stripped down, blasted, and that's kind of where we started with the project. We built this whole car in approximately 10 months. So we started, along with John Sabal, who was the designer of the rendering for the outside, like end of December, and Simo and his team here at SV Auto started cutting right into it about the 2nd of January. It's got a lot of 993 components. The engine is a 993 that's being, bored out to a 3.9 liter, and it's got G50 transmission from a 993 that's being built up. This car made 387 wheel horsepower on the dyno, which is pretty incredible considering that, that's more power than what a Gunther Works 993 puts out.
And that's running 91 octane pump gas.
That's pump gas, shitty California 91 octane. Not race gas, no E85, that's just 91.
First of all, tell me about the paint.
That was like the $1 million question. It was all the way up until like August. We still had not picked the color of the car. Primarily that was on me because the color that you pick for a car that you plan on keeping forever, we were trying to figure out something that was timeless. But the ethos of the car is like, classic looks, but modern technology. And, we settled up on going with silver, and I just feel like silver is one of those colors that never goes out of style. You can put it on an old car, you can put it on a new car, and then it's like, there's 50 shades of silver, what color do you pick? So this is a custom blend of silver that we were able to create along with Santana Auto Body, the company that painted the car.
CSF Radiators, why a air-cooled vehicle?
We obviously, are a global cooling brand. We make a lot of stuff for brand new cars. We're already, exclusive cooling guys for like Porsche 992 turbos and GT3s, but I think people ignore how large the classic and restoration market is for all different types of vehicles. So a part of my expansion plan for the brand is to continue to evolve and make classic components. There's a lot of cars where you can't even get good high quality cooling systems for them. And as that restoration market grows larger, we want to be the company that people go to for those coolers. Porsche cooling for air cooled, it's really hard to get the oil coolers. And if you can find original ones, they're super expensive, super hard to get, long lead times, and you're basically searching out for components that are like, got the technology from 50, 60 years ago. Why not get something that's, always in stock, better price, and got 2022 technology in it?
So is that what you have up front here?
Yeah, so this is a CSF oil cooler that we built specifically for this type of like 73 RS style bumper. So they're actually universal oil coolers, but we designed them to fit in these Porsche bumpers. So this is one oil cooler. There's also a second oil cooler right behind the passenger wheel well, which is kind of known as like a right front fender Carrera style cooler. So this car's got 2 oil coolers, and it also has an AC condenser on the other side used for the electric AC system in the car.
Can we take a look at the engine bay?
Absolutely.
I don't know if this will translate to you guys watching this, but one of the things that really blew me away about this vehicle is the fit and finish, all the trim. This is all what plated?
It's all Cerakoted.
Oh, Cerakoted.
It's all Cerakoted. Yeah, and that was kind of one of those things of like, modern technology, also like modern finishes. So throughout the car, there's 2 finishes that you're gonna see. It's all Cerakoted trim, whether it's inside or outside, even like the centers of the wheels are all the same finish. And then the other one is an anodized titanium finish that goes along with it. So the car's got a very monochromatic look to it, right?
Because this is functional, but I mean, it's obviously on this car it's for form, but it's also functional. I mean, because Cerakoting is used for firearms, right?
You see it on guns. A lot of people do that. But, you know, as people kind of develop, you know, with Cerakoting, it's almost like a ceramic coating. You see it on exhaust. You see it on other parts of like high heat transfer. So we have used other types of Cerakoting, ceramic coating for the exhaust side. We picked this other color for all the trim and the interior.
All right, let's check this thing out. Oh, wow, it is very pretty. So tell us what we're looking at here.
So 3.9 liter engine, designed by SEMA here at SV Auto, built by Prado Auto Works. So Fabian Prado, good friend of mine now and good, you know, works with SEMA a lot. He built the motor. It's got the Kinsler ITB setup with it. And this is actually one of Kinsler's new GT3 style plenums as well. So it's a full billet plenum. One of the cool things that I like about it is it's all Wiggins clamped. It's Wiggins clamped to the throttle bodies, and they're actually black Wiggins clamps, which you know primarily don't see. So unless you know what you're looking at, you might miss that detail. So, you know, Wiggins clamps are primarily purple. It's just a higher level of engineering that we wanted to kind of take into the car.
Is this Cerakoted too?
Yep. Everything's got that same finish on it throughout the vehicle, whether it's inside, and that's the anodized titanium finish that matches everything else on the car also.
I just can't convey how nice this is. It's kind of insane how perfect the milling is, and it's all going the same direction. And this is super cool too, like this screen.
Yeah,
right, for the air filter.
So this is all Kinsler stuff, and there's actually a circular air filter that goes into there. So that's custom made for their plenums. I've never had a Kinsler ITB setup. I've never been really up close and personal. There's a reason why it's so expensive, and it's a reason why people think they're the best. It is really night and day different from anything else I've ever seen on a car. The engineering and the support that they also provided to us was incredible. So thank you to Brad over at Kinsler.
Wow. It's so clean too, the engine bay.
So those came from a company in Detroit called Oxtoncraft. And there's a few different components on the car done by Brian. He's got these billet, holders for the trunk lid. He also did the mirror. There's some components on the inside. His company is really cool. And one of the things that I kind of learned throughout the process, there's a lot of like small companies right now making incredible parts for restorations of Porsches, hot rod parts, restoration parts, and we really try to grab some of that stuff and put on this car to kind of highlight some of these companies.
Tell me about the exhaust. Pretty cool to see at the SEMA show, SEMA Ignited, you did a couple revs for me and also for the crowd. And it spit some serious fireballs.
Yeah, SEMA and I were actually just joking right before you got here that I voided my warranty at SEMA because after he saw those pictures, he's like, hey, brand new motor, you're already spitting the fireballs. I was like, gotta do it. It's got high-tech headers, and it's attached to a titanium GT3 exhaust from a 991 series. That GT3 exhaust was fabricated, it was actually, the muffler was cut and shortened in terms of height to be able to fit into a 911 body, and those are actually titanium tips as well. All of that was fabricated here by Tito, who's the in-house fabricator.
So the exhaust, all this is Cerakoted also?
Yeah, and it's all ceramic coated with a high temp titanium finish, and inside of the pipes, it's actually sprayed with copper.
It's a bunch of gold down here too, huh?
Yeah, so the whole bottom side of the car is finished in like a really nice satin black finish, and all of the hardware on the car is zinc coated. So, you know, just your traditional OE style level of Porsche, whether it's under the car, in the engine bay, inside the car, you'll either see it all zinc coated, or Dominic from Chasing Jay is a good friend of mine. He did a lot of the titanium parts on the car. Going back to the engine, one thing that is just absolutely killer is the harness that Rywire built. So this is Ryan's, new standard for his Motec package, and him and Ryan Durr over there, they just absolutely killed it. If you don't know who Ryan from Rywire is, he's known as one of the best, motorsports electronics guys out there. He's known for his clean wiring, and he's one of my best friends in the industry. So it was really awesome to have him on board. It's kind of been my style, is just being in the industry, building the car with other friends I have from different companies. So yeah, we had a lot of help from whether it was KW suspension, or Falcon Tire, or the guys from Rotiform. A lot of people jumped on to help me kind of complete this vision.
Can we talk about the wheel, tire, and brake package? This is so cool.
So the wheel is Rotiform's brand new wheel. It's their CMP. It's a 3-piece wheel. I worked with Jason from there, and his, Tom, his designer and engineer, and it's an original design. And it's kind of like a hybrid of a Fuchs wheel, an old Campanello wheel, and a little bit of like a VW gas burner wheel. We didn't want to put a Fuchs wheel, even though that's initially what I thought, because I didn't want to get pigeonholed into like, oh, is that a Singer? I wanted a fresh, brand new, modern wheel that really made this car stand out. So when people saw it, they go, okay, this is something different. It also allows you to see the big brake caliper from StopTech. This is part of their Porsche series for air-cooled cars. They were really nice to allow us to have the calipers to be able to finish in that anodized finish to match everything else. So Rotiform actually gave me the parts. We finished them ourselves, so did StopTech. And it's just a really cool combo. The center locking system was done by Mike Burrows at Stanceworks. He was able to make those for me. He worked with his good friend Nick and the CNC machinist Brett. And it's a really cool system. I mean, it's got a locking pin. It's totally functional. It's a really cool hub adapter system that he gave me to be able to give the center lock feel.
It just looks so cool. So is there a tool that you use to remove this?
Yeah, absolutely. So the machinist had to make me a custom tool that goes along with this center lock system. And it's got all the grooves to fit perfectly on it. And it even has a little dowel that you can put in the middle so it'll locate and it won't slip. A lot of race car guys or GT3 guys have a center lock system, but it gets chipped because it's a race car. I obviously wanted to preserve the integrity of the finish and everything like that, so they really made a nice, precise tool for us.
I feel like this is one of those things where it's easily overlooked, but I love this style so much. The thing is, Rotiform, they've been making some really nice center look wheels. But, of course, they also make a lot of real race car wheels that are actually center lock. And so it's really cool to see anything like this on an old vehicle, especially a new build like this.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the synergy, because we all are friends in the industry, Mike knows Jason, and they were able to work together and pass the design files back and forth to really come up with a good system. It all worked out really nice. And then, Falcon Tires, my good friend Bakari, he was able to get me these awesome RT660 tires. I had used them the first time on my 996 Turbo when we went to Pocono together for the driver's project. And they just have a really good array of fitment for sizes, and they had them in stock, and they drive great. So really like these Falcon tires.
The fitment is so good. It is very, very close, and it's amazing to me that this doesn't rub at all.
It took us 1 week, that's all we did, to do the fitment and alignment and corner balancing in the car. We actually initially had a 235 tire, and we ended up going down to a 225. And we actually shaved off a little bit of the back of the wheel just to be able to get, the perfect amount of camber and everything that we needed to do.
It is crazy how close it is, and the fact that you still have full travel. Can you tell me about the suspension on this?
Yeah, so this is KW's Club Sport coilovers. And, again, good industry partners of ours. We've done a lot with KW. A lot of my cars have KW. And it's a great coilover system that they've developed for these classic 911s. So, perfect for the street. I also took the car already to the track. It handled phenomenally. So along with the suspension, from KW, everything else is from ERP and Terret. And there's also a crazy strut bar under here you're going to like. This is from Elephant Racing.
Whoa.
So that's a 935 style X-Brace.
This is so cool. I can't believe how it looks and how precise everything feels. Huh. I also love that it kind of skinnies up to get through this. Wow, what a nice build. I love this. And so this is the fuel filler.
This is actually a really cool, unique part of the car that nobody else has in the world. This fuel filler and the location on the hood is from a 959. 959s and 911s have the same hood. 959s have their gas cap kind of oriented towards the driver's side. The reason we were able to put this on the car is because a few years ago at Monterey, a 959 fell off a transporter. It was kind of like a big deal. Everyone was like, oh my God. But that car landed up with SEMA. He was commissioned to fix it. So we 3D scanned and reverse engineered the filler of this car. And then they built a custom fuel filler neck all the way into the tank. This is a cool little touch that's on this car that's not on anybody else's. A lot of guys might put the filler in the middle, or obviously it's, OE is on the fender, but this is just like OEM right there, so.
Jeez, and I love that he still retained this.
Yeah.
Or added a new sticker that you would see in Germany or on a car from Germany, huh?
Yeah, he's...
This is so clean too, all of this. I can't believe you made a custom little gas flap too.
Yeah, so Carbone, which is a company out of Poland, they're doing a great job on making, really high quality restoration parts. And they helped us a lot with this car. This is their LED headlights. And then they also did the entire trunk interior carpet setup. They made me the fuel bib, and we also sent out the steering wheel, and they reupholstered the steering wheel as well.
Tell me about the carbon bits on this car.
Yeah, so, John Sabal was the designer of the vehicle. And, going back to that ethos of modern and kind of meeting classic, he designed all of the carbon parts on the car, which is the carbon lip, the rear diffuser, and the deck lid cover. And so this is all one-off carbon that's specific for this car. Something that a lot of people may not know, if you haven't been following the build, there's no fiberglass on this car at all. This is a completely all-metal car. The hood's all metal, the deck lid and the duckbill is all metal. That's all been done by an English wheel by hand. The fenders are all metal. So, this bumper isn't 100% symmetrical because it wasn't built in a mold. Someone did this by hand. Those carbon pieces are also specific just to this car. So I've already had guys hit me up like, hey, can I buy that stuff from you? I'm like, it's not gonna fit because it's specific for this bumper only. So we worked with a couple of different guys to be able to make this. We had to take John's rendering, then we had to give it to somebody to 3D scan the actual bumpers. Then someone had to take his rendering and build it into a scale model, and then we were able to get the molds, and then we were able to get the pieces, and then I gave it to LTMW, and then he was able to finish the carbon for me.
So much thought into the smallest things, and that's kind of the cool thing about this build. The interior has a complete different feel and look to, I guess, any other 911 I've seen. I think you have a pretty proud story of this too, right?
So this is real authentic Goyard fabric. We actually bought 8 handbags from the boutique in Beverly Hills, and we ripped them up. We worked with Rogelio's Upholstery, friend of ours, Roger. He's also an engineer, and he was able to line up the pattern perfectly on the seats and everything in the car that lines up horizontally, vertically, and diagonally.
Are you allowed to talk about the story?
Absolutely. I mean, so, the thing about Goyard, it's a very high-end luxury brand. It's kind of at that level of like Hermes or Louis Vuitton. And what people don't realize it's not leather, it's actually canvas. And every one of these dots is painted by hand. And that's the only thing they do. It's one pattern of the chevron print. And when I was building the car, SEMA was always like on me. He's like, hey, what do you want to do for the interior? Do you want to do leather? Do you want to do like Pasha or Hoonsooth? And these were all things that were typical Porsche. As I was building this car, I really wanted to try to step out of the box, but make something that had that like wow factor and OEM plus. With the rest of the car being monochromatic with like the grays and silver tones, I just wanted something that popped a little bit. I remember one day we were working on the engine and SEMA was like, what do you want to do? I'm like, hey, I got this crazy idea. And I thought he was going to laugh at me. And I was like, I kind of want to rip up a bunch of handbags and put them on the interior and do something pretty wild and get that wow factor. So that's what we ended up doing. And we just put it in places that we thought would be enough of an impact, but we didn't want to overdo it. So we did it on the seats, we did it on the dash, steering wheel column, and a little bit on the roll bars, just to kind of draw your eyes in it when you look at it from the outside.
You didn't stop there. You did the seat adjuster. You did these poles for the seats. You did the roll cage a little bit. You did the rear seats that nobody will ever sit in.
Nobody will ever sit in.
You even did the rear deck lid.
Yeah, just to draw your eyes in when you're looking at the car. And, you buy 8 bags and you start ripping them up. You have some extra to go around. I actually have a pair of Nikes and I'm actually putting some on there as well. So
What's left? So it's just a couple little pieces of material
the
left?
thing about it is if you want to do it right, it all has to line up. So you actually get a lot of scrap because there's so many parts that you can't line up anywhere else on the car. So then you're ultimately having to throw those away.
But
so
it's funny because you made a bag out of a bag.
Well, actually, those bags came with the bigger bags. So those are bags that have been totally taken and just put there. And then Roger did a great job as he was building these custom door cards. He made it magnetic. So you can actually pull that whole thing off.
Oh.
And you can take it with you. So
Okay. I like
a
this.
little wallet.
All right.
know?
Thanks, Ravi.
Yeah.
Thanks, bud. This is so cool.
There's not a lot of areas to put your stuff in an old 911, so there you go.
Door pull.
Yeah.
This mat pocket is really nice. I just can't really put this into words in terms of how nice all of this stuff fits. Your upholstery guy he's a wizard. Because it's one thing to do upholstery for a car, it's another thing to actually use a material that was never meant for this. Because even like here, the seat adjuster, the fact that the text, everything lines up perfectly, and also the fact all of this stuff is straight, and then it goes around even like the new Porsche Classic radio, right?
Yeah.
This is something that you figure out a way to kind of incorporate into.
Yeah, that company I was telling you earlier, Oxygen Craft, Brian makes this panel now. This was the first one. I had saw a prototype on his Instagram that was just like a 3D printed part. And when we were building it, this was cutting it close to SEMA. This was about 3 weeks before SEMA. We had put the radio in the car. And it was just kind of like sticking out like a sore thumb. It was like a cool classic radio. You have all the features, but it was like a black box that was like just sitting there in this backdate. And it kind of like really messed up the look of the dash. I hit up Brian. I said, Brian, I know it's just a prototype. I need you to make me a part. And he made us this panel that covers up that Porsche radio. It comes with all the knob covers for it. Everything kind of sticks out perfectly. And it looks great. It's a really cool part.
I mean, the fact that all of this material is cut out perfectly just for the tiniest buttons.
We actually scrapped a whole piece of material because when we put it on, it wasn't exactly lined up. And I told Roger, I'm like, hey, we just got to do it again. We're like off by like a fraction of a millimeter, but I could tell, and I didn't want to see it every time I drove the car. We also got a lot of parts from Renline. Renline has a ton of billet components. This whole HVAC system is all Renline, it's all billet. This used to be red. I took it to my powder coater guy down in Burgundy, just to kind of give it a little bit of the same, look. Cool ass CAE shifter, which is badass, I always wanted a CAE shifter for one of my car builds and I never had a chance. And so I put it here.
Ravi, I missed something. Your e-brake handle too.
Oh yeah.
I thought I saw all of it, but I didn't.
The whole car is about sensation, right? How it looks, how it sounds, how it feels, it smells. But when you sit on these seats and you go, damn, I'm sitting on like luxury handbags, it's a really cool feeling. Like the first time I sat in the car, I was like, this is pretty dope. I think it's just it's a cool touch that I haven't seen done. Definitely not executed to this level. I can't thank Roger enough. I kind of roped him into this project. I'm like, hey Roger, can you like do a little bit of my interior? And he became an integral part of this project. And I think he spent a lot more time than he had thought he was going to. But he did a phenomenal job. Going down here, this is the pedal set. This is all custom titanium floorboards that were done by Chasing Jays as well. So Dominic is a good friend of mine. He made these custom pedals, custom floorboards, all the bolts inside holding down the seats and other parts, and like the shifter, that's all titanium.
The fit and finish, I love that you hid USB, phone cord. I mean, I think I've seen a lot of 911s, unfortunately, underneath the dash.
It's not very nice.
It's like a rat's nest,
Yeah.
you know? But this, you put so much attention to it by covering all this stuff. Is this Alcantara?
It's all Alcantara, yeah. So this is Alcantara and a really cool leather company that Roger knew of. I don't want to mess up the name, but I think it's Renegold Leather. And yeah, it's just really nice quality stuff. Here's more Goyard.
This is a big piece.
Yeah, well, they're big bags, you know?
Yeah.
So we actually did the math. We figured out that they're like huge, large, like tote bags were the cheapest, but the best to work on because it doesn't have a lot of construction to the bag. It's kind of flimsy, so we were able to cut it all up and really kind of make it malleable for where we needed to put it.
Have they reached out to you at all? Have they seen something like this?
Yes. So, you know, we were obviously posting this on social media and we got a cease and desist notice. They think it's fake. So they think that we were infringing on their copyright, which we're technically not. We haven't done anything illegal. You know, I bought the bags. I'm able to do whatever I want with it. I chose to put it in my car. I'm not planning on reselling it as something that it isn't, but I just think it's kind of funny. Obviously, they're not watching the YouTube series, but we got a notice from their lawyer that, you know, they took the video down and it is what it is. But yeah, this is all authentic stuff. And, you know, another part of the reason I picked it is their whole deal is that their bags and luggage is supposed to last forever. It's gonna, over time, wear and have a really nice patina. That's why it's canvas and it's gonna last a long time. So, you know, as I plan to keep this car for a long time and maybe pass it down to my son, you know, this is something that I think hopefully will age well.
Can you tell me about the seats? These are really nice.
Yeah, so these are Sparco SPX seats. Alan at Sparco has always been a great supporter of CSF, and I actually had these seats in my 991 Turbo S that I was doing half-mile racing with. And they were so comfortable that although it's kind of a larger seat, more modern-looking seat, I had to put it in this car. You know, a lot of guys, when you look at classic 911s, they go for like the Recaros, whether it's like a vintage style or even like a CS Sportsters type. I think these are a lot more comfortable. They're reclinable. So I can really adjust, you know, how anybody sits in the car, you know, so if I'm driving it, it's gonna fit me. If you're driving it, you can really make it adjustable for your own self. And, you know, there's not a lot of like other telescopic features with the wheel and everything. So being able to adjust the seat, I think is really one of those only things that you have to be able to get a good driving position. A lot of old 911s, there's a lot of open space in the car. There's not a lot of paneling. So this car's got an entire interior paneling kit by Street Fighter LA. So we took their kit, trimmed it to fit exactly how we wanted it to fit, and then we wrapped it all in Alcantara. Right here in the center, where you see this little crease cut out, that's where the Motec is sitting. So I can remove that and plug in right away to be able to download logs for tuning, all those things. So the Motec and the PDM that Ryan wired up is all sitting right there.
I found another little piece of Goyard. Right there. A little block off plate. Really, really beautiful build. I was already blown away when you talked to me about this at SEMA, but this is just another level that I just couldn't imagine. I'm glad that you put the effort in, really. And also on top of that, I think this is something that you mentioned to me before. This is a community build, in that so many people in the car community locally came together to help with this build.
Absolutely. I mean, and listen, you've been around me for so many years, Larry. You've seen my other builds, whether it's my Evo, my 996 Turbo, you know, other cars I've built. We're so fortunate that we live in Southern California, and really so much talent is located here when it comes to aftermarket performance and tuning. And, you know, doing this for over 10 years and running a business, I've gotten to become really good friends with these guys. We help each other on each other's project. And I think everyone knew how serious I was about building this car. And I really had a lot of support, and everyone put their best work. New ideas, innovative technologies, you know, brand new world debut parts, you know, the time spent, the parts put on the car, everyone did a phenomenal job. And, you know, that starts with the team here at SV Auto. Like, I own the car. Obviously, I put a lot of the input, but, you know, it's everybody else's work that really made this all come together.
So you mentioned your Evo. We shot that for the cover of Super Street, and we shot that in Southern California, in the dunes, in the sand dunes. And I love telling this story, but a lot of people were calling me out and saying that the photos were photoshopped.
Yeah.
Because of how crazy it was. Like, who would bring a Time Attack Evo to the dunes?
Yeah, honestly, like I have that magazine cover sitting at our office, and it looks like we took that photo shoot on Mars.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. I mean, it's wild.
Hopefully people won't call me out for doing Photoshop with this shoot, but I mean, you never know, we'll see. But yeah, let's take it out. All right, here we go in the CSF 911. Whoa. It feels so solid, like right away.
I mean, it's like a new car, you know?
Oh,
Here we go.
whoa. My God. Oh, that rev limiter though. Jeez, and it stops. Oh, it stops. Holy crap.
Yeah, that shit still pulls, you know?
That is
It
crazy.
keeps going.
That idle is super nice. So while I was shooting, you were telling me this actually has an anti-gravity battery.
This has an anti-gravity battery, so Bart's become a real good supporter of the brand, and it's actually got their Wi-Fi tracker on it too, which is built on top of the battery. And so on the app, I can see how much charge there's on there. And we built the C-Tech charger underneath the floor mat of the car. So all I have to do is plug in an extension cord underneath. There's a bulkhead, and we're able to charge the car.
So how much does this weigh now?
This car is about 2,400 pounds.
Wow, it's very, very, very light. Jeez. It pulls so crazy for an air-cooled 911.
Yeah, I mean, initially I was gonna go with a turbo because I come from a 996 turbo. And SEMA was like, there's really nothing like driving an NA car that can rev all the way up to 8,000. So,
Jeez.
and that Motec, that drive-by wire, really makes it feel like a modern car. You know, how fast it just spools up, and it's really nice.
Wow. Unbelievable. You mind if I drive?
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
Ooh. This is the jam right here.
Yeah, it's got a good seating position, you know?
Oh, the throttle is very sensitive. Whoa. And you got to get used to the floor mounted.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
wow.
actually a pedal from E46 M3 pedal set.
Really?
Yeah, because Ryan had the connections and everything for it. That Motec, it's almost like, it's all drive-by-wire, so if your foot jumps off it,
Yeah.
you're gonna feel that jitter.
Yeah,
so
that's what's happening right now.
yeah, right? It's not the car jittering, it's
Interesting.
your foot on the pedal. When we were tuning it, we did not only dyno tuning, but we also did street tuning. So Bo Brown, who's the tuner, he also tunes all the Singer cars. He's the one who tuned the car. He's friends with Ryan. And he was in the passenger seat, and he really was tuning into how I drive. So it's really like, he
Very
felt
aggressively.
very aggressive. Yeah, very aggressive, very pedal down all the way.
It sounds like legitimately like a German muscle car.
Yeah, right? With the little idle,
Yeah.
lumpy idle.
It sounds incredible. Wow. It's the sound is just so refined. Even from down low. Wow. Well, Well, that's it. We have, you are the master planner and we have the master builder here.
Yeah, so this is SEMA Verahanta, owner of SV Auto.
Hi.
And, we're at his shop and he's the man behind this car. I own it, but him and his team built it and it's been an exceptional experience working with him, building this car together.
So Mel, I know there's a lot of builds that you have here, customer cars and also personal projects. We can't fit them all in one video. So I'm gonna come back, and I'm actually very close to you.
All right.
So I'm going to come back, I'm gonna bother you all the time now because there's so many cool builds here on your property.
Right.
And we'll feature all of them.
Awesome.
But for now, thank you so much for letting me drive your Pride and Joy. It was, I don't know, there's not many words to explain it. It was just tuning and the ultimate car culture and all of that in its finest form. I don't know. There's no other way to say it.
I appreciate that, Larry. I mean, that's, we build these cars for ourselves, but being in the industry, we build it for the culture too, right? I mean, I'm just trying to put my best work along with my friends and showcase to the world, like, this is what we can build. And, I'm really happy that you enjoy driving it. Like I told you before, I mean, the whole car is about sensations. It's how it looks, how it sounds, how it smells, what it feels like when you're sitting inside. And I'm really happy that you got to be a part of this.
See you guys later.